Today, Megan and I want to give you our Today, What? We can all have a turn. Today, Megan and I want to give you our top 5 reasons to keep backyard chickens. Keep watching.
Like I said in the last video, we want to give you a look at how our life works and some things that we think are important for large families or really any family.
One of the main reasons you hear about keeping backyard chickens, and it was true for us, is eggs. It's an easy way to get eggs. Sometimes not so easy. You know, if you do things right and you plan it out, you can actually save money and get eggs while keeping backyard chickens. The first thing I'm going to say is don't buy one of those. Build your own. Look online, find some plans, build your own, because really dollar for dollar, you're going to be better off trying to plan and build your own than to buy a boxed unit like that. It's not as secure if you have predators in your area that are heavier than we have here. So anyway, this isn't a video about cons, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Anyway, one of the main reasons for keeping... Hello? One of the main reasons for keeping backyard chickens is so that you know where your food's coming from. For us, it's mainly eggs right now. There's a couple things that keep us from doing meat birds here in the city. Otherwise, we may have one soon. There's basically 3 different varieties of chickens that you can keep. You got egg layers, you got meat chickens, and you got show birds. We're not going to talk about show birds because we don't show birds except to you guys. We experimented with meat birds a little bit. We have some that we bought and decided to keep at my other daughter's house, who is in a place where she can keep meat birds, more birds, and we can actually dispatch them there. But unfortunately, long distance chicken raising just doesn't work well, so that's a topic for a whole different video. So right now we're concentrating mostly on eggs.
By choosing the right breed, feeding them the right diet, and taking care of them well, your average chicken can lay up to 300 eggs a year. We have 6 egg layers now.
Chicken math.
And we get about 36 to 42 eggs every week.
There's a certain sense of pride in knowing that you helped raise your own food, whether it's gardening, collecting eggs from your chickens, things like that. And I think it's good for everybody to have that experience. You get to know what your food ate before it became your food.
Another great reason to get into chicken life is for the educational aspect. Ask anybody around here and they will tell you that the chickens are dad's babies. He gets usually final say on what happens to them, what they're fed, all that stuff. But any of us are eager to jump in and help with chores.
Sorry, I got one that's making sounds like she's going to lay an egg. I don't know.
Do you need a box?
Anyway.
But that doesn't mean we're not all eager to jump in, do some chores, help with the chickens, whether it's cleaning up the run or the coop, letting them out in the morning, feeding them, everything they require pretty much.
Giving them snacks.
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Hey, for the first month we had these guys, everybody was out here checking for eggs every 10 minutes religiously. It's funny because the kids love to hang around and ask questions and learn about the chickens. Why are they doing what they're doing? And half the time we don't even know. We've got to look it up on the phone and tell them. This is a learning experience for us all. We haven't been, raising chickens for 20 years, 30 years, whatever. It's not an old family business. We've got backyard chickens. But the kids are learning right alongside us. They're curious. And it helps teach responsibility to the kids. Believe it or not, chickens are one of the simpler ways to teach kids about responsibility with pets. Dogs, they need you, but they kind of take care of themselves. Cats definitely take care of themselves. Chickens do too, but they need that scheduled let out in the morning, tuck them in at night, feed them when they're supposed to be fed, make sure their diet's balanced. If they're sick, you got to make sure they're, being given meds and looked after and things like that. So, and making the kids part of that really helps teach them responsibility for, whether it's for people, animals, whatever. They know that they need to help.
So once we trained the kids a little bit, it was really easy to send them out to check for eggs, to throw the chickens some table scraps or some grains they love, the oats and sunflower seeds, and weeds too.
Any weeds we pull, we've got gardens all around our house. Any weeds we pull, we can throw fistfuls in here. And whatever they choose to eat or don't eat, it's up to them. But either way, it works. Part of the educational experience with the chickens is I feel like it's important for kids and adults to know all about the cycle of life. Yes, you know where your food comes from, but okay, you get, chicken lays egg. Now, while we don't fertilize eggs, we don't have a rooster here, we're not allowed to. Basically the kids know that if we fertilized an egg with a rooster and we could get a chicken to sit still long enough to keep that egg warm, it would turn into a baby chicken. So they're kind of getting that concept of, okay, this is a chicken that has potential to be born. And then we have our pullets. They're still pullets. They're almost adult stage. And then, eventually they'll get sick and die. Or, if we needed meat, this is a good breed to also be a meat bird. You kind of got to know where your food comes from. And I'd rather have it here where we give them the best life possible and they're happy, mostly.
As I'm hand feeding her.
And spoiled to a certain extent. And I don't want our kids growing up thinking that, chicken just comes from the supermarket shelf in the cold area. They got to know that their favorite chicken dish comes from a chicken somewhere that gave the ultimate sacrifice so that they can fill their belly that night for dinner or lunch or whatever. And the other part of the cycle of life is predators. No matter where you live, you're going to have some sort of predator, whether it's your own children, your own pets, raccoons, foxes, coyotes, wolves, bears that are curious, snakes that steal eggs. Sometimes you're going to lose your birds to predators, not just sickness or the proverbial hatchet. I don't know if we've been counting, but 1 was eggs and meat. Number 2 was education for the whole family, kids and adults alike. And number 3 is chicken TV.
Around here, sometimes the house will get real quiet. And it seems like everybody disappeared within the span of 2 minutes. And I know they didn't go out the front door, so if I want to find them, I go look by the chicken coop. And generally, that's where I can find most of the people who live in the house, which is a lot of people.
Yeah. Standing here staring in the fence at the chickens doing what chickens do.
Yeah. Seriously, chickens have their own unique personalities. While each breed has its own little quirks, every chicken in and of itself has its own quirks.
Yeah, every individual chicken. It's just like your kids.
Different looks, different, I call them talents, but really they're a lack thereof.
The Hey Hey character came about because of very specific reasons. So we chose this variety because it's what was available at the time. This person had pullets and they were very young, just starting to lay, and it was available. So we're not sure if they're Rhode Island Reds. We're pretty sure there's some Northeast U.S. breed of some sort, some New England breed. They're supposed to be hardy in the winter. They're supposed to be pretty well heat tolerant. I mean, they're all going to be affected by some weather and temperature. But these guys seem to be holding up really well. And, we're not ready to start mixing different breeds of chickens and different styles of chickens yet. So I'm a firm believer in keeping it simple, keep them all the same. That way nobody picks on anybody, at least for that reason. We do have a couple in here. There's one, it's sort of like the dwarf names, except not necessarily PG. So with that being said, you've got your choice of chicken types. If you like what my other daughter calls fluffy butts, the little, what are those puffy ones called? Silkies. Or you like polka dotted chickens, or you like light colored, dark colored, red, black, whatever. And then each one has its own type of eggs. You can have green eggs, white eggs, yellow eggs, brown eggs, blue eggs. I think I said blue. Anyway. And so that's all great, but we went for a standard hardy breed with a standard size, standard color brown egg. So it can be as simple or as complicated as you want it, really.
One more great reason to have chickens is for the backyard garbage disposal. Pretty much all of our food scraps at this point go to the chickens, and even if they don't eat it, they like to bury it, scratch at it, turn it over.
Throw it through the fence.
Yeah. Pretty much compost it for us, which makes our job a lot easier. We'll walk out the back door with our silver compost bucket and they see us coming and they all run to the door over there, and we have a hard time even getting the door open without a chicken escaping because they all want at the bucket so badly. They really love their people food.
And it's funny because they'll eat anything. They'll eat Eggs, chicken. I mean, they're not picky. Beef, fruits, vegetables, crackers, sandwiches, seeds, plants, you name it, they'll eat it. Now, people say that you shouldn't give them certain things because, certain things are poisonous to them. I found that chickens, as dumb as they act, really do have enough instinct to not eat the things that are bad for them. They don't eat tomatoes. They don't eat, and I'm not sure even the fruit of the tomato is bad for them. I'm pretty sure it's just the leaves, the greenery. But anyway, things in the nightshade family, potatoes, they say you shouldn't give them raw potatoes. Well, we throw potato peels in too. It's all part of our composting system, so they're going to get some of that stuff in their pen. And they run across things in the wild that are bad for them, and somehow they have to know instinctively that it's bad for them, so they just avoid it.
So even if they decide not to eat something that we throw in there, they scratch it, they poke around at it. It really provides supplemental feed and enrichment for the chickens.
Yeah,
and
entertainment for them.
Yeah. And it helps keep our food waste down, keep it out of the weekly trash, and gives our compost pile a real jump start. Speaking of compost, composting is a really great way to reduce your waste and create nutrients for your garden. Our compost pile gets any food scraps that the chickens don't eat, any leftover weeds once, we have the entire floor of the run covered in weeds for them to scratch around at, as well as whatever we clean out of the run and the coop when it's time to clean. Composting seems to go much faster with the addition of some chicken manure and the help of our little farmhands. We actually throw a shovel full of compost in every now and then and just let the chickens kick it around, scratch it, pretty much mess it up and destroy it.
Yeah, we'll cycle it back and forth. So we scoop up where they like to roost in the coop at night. And funny fact, chickens do 70% of their pooping while they sleep. Don't ask me why I remembered that part. But we'll scoop up that row, and it's a nice, neat row of poop where they left their little presents for you overnight. And we'll throw that into the compost bin. The compost gets about halfway composted. I feel like I'm saying the word compost over and over. And then we'll take pitchforks full of that and throw 4 or 5 of them in there, let them cycle them through and dig them around and scratch around. And then we'll take some out of there and throw it in the compost bin again, and just back and forth. We get some of the best compost ever. Well, the compost helps our vegetables grow. Whatever parts of the vegetables we don't eat goes back to them. Whatever weeds pop up, we're always weeding. That goes to them or in the compost pile directly. So it's a whole little mini ecosystem here, and everything plays off of everything.
Chickens eat the worms in the compost too.
Chickens love when we find worms in the compost. If we're flipping the compost pile, we won't take all the worms out, but we'll take some of the bigger, fatter ones, and we'll go ahead and toss them in and watch the chickens kind of argue over them. One will usually grab it and duck and run, and it's funny how they're like little kids, mine, mine, mine. Right, mine.
So we're not telling you to walk into your local feed store and buy a whole box of chicks. In fact, we highly recommend getting an older chicken like a pullet that's almost grown, because it's a completely different set of skills learning how to raise chicks. And we wanted to start with learning how to just take care of chickens, full grown in general.
Yeah, there's no point in, Easter time comes around, you get your kid, baby chicks, and that's how half the time the local, humane society or whatever ends up with rescue chickens every spring, because people buy these cute little baby chicks and then they grow up to be, that. And people don't know what to do with them. Well, if you want to raise chickens for eggs or just to have as pets or both or whatever, then that's fine. But start out with something that's already got a little bit of time under its belt being a chicken. That way it's easier on you, it's easier on them, and you have a better chance of success. Then as you grow in your chicken journey, you can either let some of your eggs be fertilized by a rooster or get some fertilized eggs from somebody else and these guys will nest them and, hatch them into chicks for the most part. So, set yourself up for success. Don't make it overcomplicated. Don't get too many at once. The term chicken math comes up for a reason all the time when you're talking about chickens or in chicken groups on Facebook, whatever, because it's addictive. People will just get more chickens, and then they don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to feed them. They didn't realize it was going to cost that much. It turns into a mess. Don't set yourself up so that it's like people that hoard dogs or cats. Nothing goes very well when you have too many animals in one place and you can't take care of them. No matter whether you choose to free range your chickens, which we can't do here. And there's a lot of places that I wouldn't do it because honestly, it's not really fair to the chickens. I know free range, everybody makes it sound all romantic and everything. And it's like, oh, they're free, they're free. Well, chickens really will only last so long in the wild. Some places it's completely possible to do that. They can free range, free roam all around your property. But you also have to keep in mind that they're going to eat all your vegetables. They're going to destroy your ornamental plants. And if you have predators of any type in your area, you're going to lose chickens one by one. We find that, especially for us in city limits, you're going to be better off having a fenced-in run for them. And we went a little fancy with this because these are old retail shelving units for a wall. So I wouldn't normally spend money on something like this, but some decent wire, decently attached at the ground so that predators don't dig under, so that your chickens don't dig under, because trust me, they'll act like, POWs trying to get out from under the wire just to get to the other side. They're not really trying to escape. They're like cows. They'll try to eat the grass on the other side of the fence when they have perfectly good grass standing right behind them.
Worms are always greener.
Yeah, the worms are always greener. So, it's a great idea. I think everybody should do it. If you're allowed in your municipality, I think everybody should give it a try.
As you can see, chickens are a really social creature. They do like to be in pairs of 2 to 3 because it's not really practical to try and live in the backyard with your chicken. I'm not going to live out here.
Yeah, and having them in your house is that's not going to work.
They're not the cleanest animal in the world.
Yeah. House rabbits are one thing. House chickens, you're asking for trouble. So even though we lost count, we think we hit 5 points, but, you tell me. This was one of the hardest videos I've ever shot in my life. These things are so distracting. All I want to do is sit here and watch my chicken TV. If you guys enjoyed the video, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Give us some ideas of what you want to see next. What do you want to learn about? What do you want to know about living with a big family, multi-generational family, homesteading, urban homesteading? We're like talking miniature here. We're way under an acre where we are. And believe it or not, we are in city limits. It's pretty quiet today. It's a Sunday, but still, we've made our own little oasis here. Any ideas you got for the channel, leave a comment down below and we'll see what we can do. If we can answer it, great. If not, we'll figure it out and we'll give you an answer either way.
Her neck doesn't move with her body.
Her neck is staying still, yeah.